Hey Sagittarius, welcome to Mira's Soul Tarot, and thank you so much for being here. This is your love reading for anyone with Sun, Moon, or Rising in Sagittarius. It's a general reading, so take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If it doesn't, please check your other placements. All right, let's get started.
Don't get me wrong, even though things are moving pretty quickly here between you and this person, it is kind of causing them to freak out. This is somebody who comes off to me as somebody who really does want to be with you. This person also comes off to me as somebody who really does have a lot of emotions for you. That's not the problem. The problem is that things are moving very quickly here between you and them, and it's just causing them to freak out. It's just causing them to freak out. I feel like this is what Spirit wants them to do, but I don't feel like that's what they're currently doing. I feel like Spirit just wants them to embrace, you know what I mean? This connection and this massive change that's taking place in their life. But instead of them doing that, they're choosing to freak out. They're choosing to overthink things. They're choosing to worry themselves to death, when it comes down to you in this relationship that they find themselves in with you. They're choosing to fight, you know what I mean, against the natural flow here, making this process that much more challenging and difficult for them. But yeah, I feel like this is just what Spirit wants them to do. Spirit just wants them to embrace this opportunity, embrace this connection, embrace you and what they share with you, and not fight against it. But it kind of looks like they're choosing to do the complete opposite. I also kind of feel like this person prefers to take things very slowly with people, and the fact that they don't find themselves doing that with you, that also kind of causes them to kind of freak out because it's out of their norm. It's out of their norm to rush things here with absolutely anyone, and the fact that they kind of find themselves rushing things here with you, that's kind of also freaking them out, because again, it's just out of their norm. All right, how does this person currently feel about their relationship, the Sagittarius? All right, let's see what we got. Yeah. When it comes down to you, my friend, they're literally dumping all of their eggs into your basket. You are all that they want. You are all that this person basically sees, is kind of what I'm getting. You are somebody who also does make this person feel very whole and very, very complete. You are somebody that they see a great deal of potential with. So as far as, how they feel and how they're viewing you, I mean, nothing but positive things, that I'm kind of getting here off of this person. The biggest challenge I would say for them when it comes down to this dynamic that they share with you is to just embrace, this opportunity that's presenting itself to them. That's going to be this person's biggest challenge, is embracing this connection, but also trusting you. I'm also kind of getting that. That is going to be this person's biggest challenge, is to learn to trust you and trust the process, but also learn to embrace you and what they basically share with you, because it kind of looks like what you guys share with one another is a very beautiful and healthy and promising connection here with one another. But that's just something that I feel like, they're struggling with as far as like embracing this connection with you is concerned, but also trusting you in the process. All right. How does Sagittarius currently feel? Okay. There is an overall energy of you also kind of feeling like things are moving pretty quickly here between you and this person. Things are growing pretty quickly here between you and this person. I feel like at times you do tend to kind of feel overwhelmed by it all, but I feel like you're doing a really good job at remaining grounded and not allowing everything that's going on to overwhelm you the way that it's overwhelming them, because you're overwhelmed, but not to the degree that they are. Like, that's one thing that I will say. You're definitely overwhelmed, but definitely not to the degree that they are. They're super overwhelmed by all of this. But yeah, dude, I just feel like you're trying your hardest to remain grounded and just kind of go with the flow and not fight against the natural flow here. Like we kind of see this person over here doing. I feel like this person can learn a whole lot from you, to be completely honest. Yeah, I do. I feel like this person can learn a whole lot from you. If this person were to just, remain grounded and just kind of roll with the punches and just kind of take it day by day, you know what I mean? I feel like this transition would be a lot smoother for them, but they're choosing to do the complete opposite. They're choosing to fight against it. They're choosing to worry themselves to death. They're choosing to allow their trust issues to get the best of them. They're choosing to get extremely overwhelmed by it all, you know what I mean? If this person were to just take the approach that you're taking, I think that this transition would be a lot smoother for them. But like I said, dude, I feel like this one over here could learn a lot from you. They can learn a whole lot from you. All right. What actions would Sagittarius take towards this person are moving forward? All right. We have the Queen. We have the Queen of Swords. We have the Devil. And then we also have the Seven of Wands out here. I want to look at the Devil a little bit more before I open my mouth and say anything, because I just want to confirm something. Tell me more about the Devil. Okay. All right, so we have the Chariot. We also have the Knight of Swords, and then we got the Four of Wands. For those of you who do not know this, the person that actually sits in the Chariot is the Emperor, making it a true pair situation here between you and this person. I feel like there's something that you want this person to stop doing. There's something that you want this person to stop doing. Whatever it is that you want this person to stop doing, it's something that you feel enables them to continue to be this way as far as like having their trust issues is concerned, and approaching this entire situation the way that they've been approaching it. There's something that you want this person to stop doing, because whatever it is that this person's actively doing, it's causing you to essentially feel like it's something that's really like messing with their head, and enabling them to continue to be this way and think the worst when it comes down to you. But what are they doing? I don't know. What are they doing? I don't know exactly what it is that you want this person to stop doing, but whatever it is that you want this person to stop doing, you think that it'll definitely help them not overthink things here within this dynamic that they share with you. I wonder what you want this person to stop doing. True pair situation yet again between you and this person. We have the King and the Queen of Pentacles out here. Tell me more about the Seven of Wands. All right. All right, so we have the Lovers, we have the Moon, we also have the King of Wands, and then we also have the Five of Swords. Whatever it is that this person is doing, all right, it's causing you to essentially feel like that could very well be the reason why you guys have, the issues that you guys currently have within your relationship with one another. I wonder what you want this person to stop doing, though. I can't honestly think of anything that you would want this person to stop doing, to be honest. But obviously, you would know what you would want this person to stop doing, because there's something that I feel like they tend to like gravitate towards time and time again. And whatever it is that they tend to gravitate towards time and time again, you view it as something that causes them to continue to be the way that they are. Say for perfect example, and I'm just using this as an example, not saying that this is what's going on, but let's just say so that way you guys have a rough idea of what I'm talking about here. Especially for those of you who are resonating with this person to the right of me, okay? Let's say, because this person does kind of come off to me as somebody who has trust issues, right? So let's just say, right, that, you want this person to stop, I don't know, you want this person to stop going through your phone 24/7. You know what I mean? Because they don't trust you, right? They feel the need that they have to go through your phone 24/7, right? A lot of you may be telling this person that you don't want them to continue to look through your phone because, you might feel like it's just enabling them to, not trust you, right? You know, just again, using that as an example. For some of you, you could very well be telling this person, nope, I don't want you to track my location anymore. You're just going to have to trust me. Because a lot of you feel like if you continue to give this person access to your location, it's just going to continue to enable them to not have to not trust you. Which, to be completely honest, I'm kind of with you on that. I'm kind of with you on that because I myself have dealt with somebody who had like massive trust issues, and I was the type of person I was the type of person in that relationship where I would do everything under the sun to try to gain that person's trust. And everything that I did do under the sun to gain that person's trust, it just wasn't working. Like, it kind of actually enabled that person to continue to not trust me, believe it or not. But one thing that I noticed is that when I stopped doing all of that, you know what I mean? It put that person in that predicament to have no other choice but to basically trust me. And I feel like that was like honestly the only way to like snap that person out of, their trust issues, to be completely honest. Because you would think that like giving a person all of this access to you, that it would cause them to actually develop trust for you, but it actually didn't. It was like quite the opposite effect that I got on my end anyways. Not saying that that's something that everybody experiences, because sometimes that can definitely help with rebuilding trust and stuff like that. But I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, it was a complete opposite for me. I feel like the moment that I stopped doing certain things, it put that person in that predicament to have no other choice but to either walk away or just outright trust me. And in the end, that person was able to get over their trust issues when it came down to me anyways. So maybe that's what you're doing. Maybe you're realizing that everything that you have been doing under the sun to gain this person's trust is just not working. So for some of you, you could very well be deciding, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. You're just going to have to learn how to trust me. You're just going to have to learn how to trust me. That's definitely a possibility. That's definitely a possibility. All right, what actions? Okay. All right. Yeah, look at this. We have the okay, hold up. We have the Seven of Swords, we got the Eight of Wands to Ten of Wands to the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, I felt the need that I had to kind of tell that story because at first I was like, I don't know if I should, but it kind of looks like you have. It kind of looks like you have been trying to like soothe, this person's, trust issues, but it kind of looks like everything that you have been doing, Sag, it just isn't working. It's just causing them to continue to remain as they are, right? Somebody who just continues to think the worst when it comes onto you, somebody who just, continues to, not basically trust you. Because, like, think about it, right? Because I went through this, so I'm telling you from experience, right? Like, when you honestly think about it, right? Like, let's just say, this person was the type, right, to go through your phone 24/7 because they didn't necessarily trust you, right? But you did that, allow them access to your phone and allow them to go through your phone whenever they please because, you want to show them, hey, you don't have anything to worry about. You could trust me, right? Every time, that person picks up that phone to look through your stuff, you're in a way enabling them to continue to not trust you. You're in a way enabling them to continue to look for something to not obviously trust you, right? You're enabling them to continue to be that way. And that's something that I actually learned, dealing with somebody who did have trust issues is that you are kind of enabling them to continue to look for something. You're continuing to enable them to remain in that low vibrational state. You're not actually helping them. You're actually kind of hurting them. You know what I mean? And granted, listen, you know what I mean? Listen, I'm a firm believer that sometimes that may help. But just going based off of my own personal experience, I don't feel like that honestly helped, to be honest, because I found myself doing absolutely everything under the sun and it just didn't get me anywhere. Not to say that it's never going to get anybody anywhere doing those things, because sometimes it can help. I've just never actually met a couple that was struggling with this and they were successful at rebuilding trust in this manner. To be completely honest, I've always heard like the same stuff that I've actually went through and experienced. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure maybe a couple somewhere, you know what I mean, approached, their trust issues in this manner and they did everything under the sun to try to get that, gain that person's trust by giving that person's access to absolutely everything. And maybe in the end it did kind of work out, but I've never actually heard of a story where it actually did work out in the end. I've always heard like, people going through basically what I went through, where they found themselves doing everything under the sun and it still didn't work out. That person still didn't trust them. That person was still looking for things. That person was still feeling the need that they had to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So not to say that it doesn't work, but I've never actually experienced that myself, and I've never actually heard of anybody like, be able to reestablish trust in that manner, because it just does kind of in a way enable that person to continue to look and continue to be that way. That's just what I've always ever heard, to be honest. So I don't know, like, maybe it does work, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. But from my experience and just from what I've heard, it's never actually really worked out. Like, because all you're really doing, if you think about it, is just putting a bandage over the wound. You're not allowing it to like fully heal. You know what I mean? You're just putting a bandage over it. Like, don't put a bandage on it. Just let it heal naturally. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, everybody's different, I guess. But that could very well be what you're doing. You know what I mean? It could be that you're just like, no, you're not gonna have my location anymore. No, you're not gonna have access to this. No, we're not doing that anymore. You're just gonna have to trust me. You know what I mean? Let's look at the outcome. Actually, let me pick up all of these cards. I want to see the outcome here. Because as far as like their overall energy, like moving forward, I feel like they still don't trust you. But that's the thing, is that I feel like you've tried to do things to get this person to trust you, but I feel like they still don't trust you. Yeah, I feel like this person still doesn't trust you. And can I be honest? Can I be honest for a second? We got the Ten of Wands to the Eight of Wands, okay? So with that being said, that creates a Two of Wands at play, right? Which speaks of a decision, which speaks of a choice. At this point, the reason why they don't trust you is because they choose to not trust you. Yep. They choose to not trust you. There is there's nothing else but that they choose to not trust you. They choose to not trust you. Now, there's a huge possibility, don't get me wrong, there's a huge possibility that you could have done things in the past to cause this person to not trust you, okay? Now, if that is the case, where you've done things to cause this person to not trust you, if they want to continue to be with you, which from the looks of it, it looks like they do, they need to honestly find it in their heart to forgive you and make peace with what happened between you and this person in the past and move past it all, so that way they're not remaining in this relationship feeling like this. You know what I mean? If, for a perfect example, you didn't do anything, right, to not cause, this person to not trust you, and this is all kind of stemming from, like, previous relationships that they've been in that has caused them to not trust absolutely anyone, okay? Because for some of you, you're more than likely in that boat, okay? they need to come to terms with the fact that they're not dealing with this ex of theirs anymore. They need to come to terms with the fact that they're dealing with you now. And you are nothing like this person from their past. And they just need to allow themselves to see that, but also accept that and embrace that. That you're nothing like this person's ex. They're not dealing with their ex anymore. They're dealing with you now, okay? And you two are two very, very different people. What they experience over there is what they experience over there. What they're experiencing over here is very, very different, okay? And they need to come to terms with that, and they need to accept that. And not project, right, what they experience with that person in particular onto you, because it's not fair. You didn't do anything. You know what I mean? You didn't do anything. So then there's that. For those of you who obviously didn't do anything to cause this person to feel this way. But even if you did do something, let's just say that you did. You know what I mean? Like, they need to make a decision. They're either going to learn to trust you all over again and rebuild trust here so that way they're not feeling this way, or they're not. Or they're not. But this is not a way to live life. You know what I mean? This is mental torture at its finest. You know what I mean? This is not a way to live life. It's just not. You know what I mean? So they either want to trust you and put it in the necessary work to rebuild trust here between you and them, or they don't. But this is telling me that this is a choice that they're making. They're choosing to not trust you, but they're also choosing to keep you around. Regardless if you did anything or not. You know what I mean? Because for some of you, you didn't even do anything. And this is all stemming from previous relationships they've been in. For others of you, you may have done something. You would obviously know if you did or not. You know what I mean? But regardless if you did something or not, they're choosing to not trust you, and they're also choosing to keep you around. So by them choosing to not trust you, that's basically telling me that they're not actually taking the necessary steps to rebuild trust here between the two of you. They're not taking the necessary steps to trust you all over again. Or just in general, if you haven't done anything. This is a choice that they're making. They could choose to trust you and learn how to establish trust here with you and keep you around. That's an option. They can do that. But the way that they're going about this relationship, it's like they're literally choosing to not trust you, but also keep you around at the same exact time. So, you know, tell me more about the Nine of Swords. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 I mean, listen, at this point, regardless if you did anything or not, this kind of telling me everything that I need to know. Walking away from you is not even an option in their mind. It's not even an option in their mind. It's not even an option in their mind. There is no exit door out of this marriage. There is no exit door out of this relationship. That exit door just simply doesn't even exist at this point. So, okay, so walking away is just not even an option. All right, boom. So we got that out the way, right? So if walking away is not an option, if this exit door doesn't even exist at this point in time, why do this though? You know, like why do this? You know, why continue to sit in this marriage, sit in this relationship, and also choose to not trust the person that you're married to in a relationship with? Why do that when you have the option? You have the option to trust this person. You have the option to rebuild trust if trust was broken at some point. That's an option. That is so an option. But they're not choosing those options, right? They're not choosing the option of, you know, let me learn to trust this person. Let me learn to re-establish trust here. Let me do that. No, they're not doing that. They're choosing to not trust you, but they're also choosing to not leave either. And then they find themselves, right, being with the person that they love because they love you, right? But also driving themselves crazy mentally. This is a choice. This is that this person is choosing to not trust you and sign themselves up for mental torture. You know, because they still want to be with you. You know what I mean? So then there's that. It's like, you know what I mean? All right. What advice can you give me for this person? Okay. Two different storylines here, so roll with me for a moment, okay? For those of you who didn't do anything to cause this person to not trust you, and this is all kind of stemming from, you know, past relationships and stuff like that, and they're just kind of projecting their past experiences onto you, right? For those of you who are basically, you know, in that boat, okay? This person's advice, honestly, has a lot to do with this Nine of Wands energy, because this Nine of Wands energy is going to say a whole lot. So let's get into it, okay? Because we got to get into this, okay? This person needs to come to terms with the fact that everything that they experience in this previous relationship is not your fault, nor do you deserve to pay for somebody else's fuck ups and or mistakes. That is not your fault, okay? They shouldn't be projecting these past experiences that they went through with other people onto you, especially when you haven't done absolutely anything to give this person a reason to doubt you, to not trust you, okay? That's something that this person needs to stop doing. Not only that, but when they find themselves feeling this way, they need to kind of come in and check themselves and kind of remind themselves, okay, the reason why I don't trust Sagittarius, the reason why I am the way that I am is because of what this douchebag over there put me through. That's why I feel this way. That's why I'm thinking these things. It's not because of Sag, it's because of what this douchebag over there put me through, okay? Once they start reminding themselves where all of this is kind of stemming from, they'll realize that you are not the threat here. You are not the threat here. It's this person from their past that was the threat here. It is not you. And once they realize that you are not the threat here, they'll be more open and receptive to you and what they share with you. It's going to take time, because it's going to take time, but eventually they'll become open and receptive, right, to you in this, relationship that they share with you. Now, if you actually did do something to cause this person to not trust you, okay, if you did something to cause this person to not trust you, okay, this person needs to, realize that by them choosing, because this is a choice that they're making, because it already came out, and this person can't tell me that this is not the case, Milagros, this is not the case. No, this is so the case, okay? Let's just get straight to the point with it, and let's just be real for a moment, okay? This is a choice that they're choosing to make. They are choosing to not trust you, and in the process of it all, they are choosing to not take the necessary steps to regain trust here between the two of you and learn to trust you all over again. This is a choice that they're making. They're choosing to not trust you. The more this person sits here and chooses to not trust you, the more all of this is going to affect their mental health, because, as far as this combo is concerned, leaving you is not even an option. So if leaving you is not an option, we can't sit in this marriage anymore. We can't sit in this relationship anymore and choose to not trust the person that we're with anymore. We can't do that, because all that's going to do is fuck with our head. All it's going to do is start to mess, with our mental health. All it's going to do is going to cause us to become paranoid. All it's going to do is cause us anxiety. All it's going to do is cause us, worry, fear, all of that stuff, right? So if leaving you is not an option, right, this person needs to essentially realize that, yes, they're still being haunted by what you did. Yes, they're still being affected by what you did. And they need to start doing something on their end to overcome these things with you, okay? But in the right way, right? Which, a really good start for me, anyways, I think would definitely be therapy. I feel like that's a really good start, for them. That's something that they can, totally consider as far as like therapy is concerned. Because if they just continue to, that's the thing, right? Is that if leaving you is not an option, because it doesn't look like it is, right? If they continue to choose to not trust you, Sag, it's going to affect this relationship. It's going to continue to affect them and their mental health. And this is just not a good environment for them. Okay. So with that being said, I can tell that they want you. I can tell that they want this to work. But they got to take the necessary steps to move past this. They got to take the necessary steps to heal from this. And you need to be right by their side working with them. This cannot be, a journey where they have to, face all this all by themselves. Like, you need to participate and help this person out, especially if you were the one to cause them to feel this way. Yeah, you got to help this person along this difficult and hard journey that they're currently on. Okay. So with that being said, they just need to make the choice. They need to make the choice to want to improve their situation here with you, but also want to improve their mental health. And like I said, for me, I think for them in particular, a good start would definitely be therapy. If they cannot afford therapy, if they can, one thing that I would definitely recommend, for this person in particular, is to try their hardest, and I know this is going to be freaking hard, but to try their hardest to not intentionally go looking for things, okay? That in itself is going to be a freaking challenge, but they need to stop intentionally looking for things. The more they continue to look for things, and the more you enable them to continue to look for things and be this way, the more they're going to stay stuck in this low vibrational state, okay? Another thing too, is that I feel like what could also really, really benefit this person is journaling. What could also really benefit this person as far as like making peace with the past is concerned is realizing that you, Sag, you, the person that hurt them, the person that made them feel this way, if this is you that made this person feel this way, You cannot go back into time and undo what you did. You can't. What's done is done. You know, we're not going to get anywhere, right, by holding whatever it is that you did over your head, because you can't go back into time and undo what you did. Nobody in this life can go back into time and undo what they did. You know, we just can't do that, and they need to accept that. You cannot go back into time and undo what you did. They need to focus more so on what you're doing now. What are you doing now to show this person that you are trustworthy? Are you honestly putting forth the effort to show this person that you're trying to gain their trust back? And if you are, which I do believe that you are, because it's out here, they need to go based off of that. What you're doing right now to gain their trust. Not what you did back then and how much it hurt them and affect. No, because that's just going to keep them stuck in the past. They need to focus on what is Sagittarius doing right now to gain my trust back. And if you are doing, you know, X, Y, and Z to gain their trust back, they need to take that in itself as a sign that, you know what, look, they're trying. They're trying to gain my trust back. They're trying to make this, you know, relationship work. They're playing their part. Let me play my part. You know what I mean? Let me start trusting them again. Let me start having faith in them again. It's going to take some time for them to fully have faith in you and fully trust you all over again. But again, make the choice, right? Make the choice to try to trust that person again. Learn to trust that person again. But if they keep doing this, like, yes, I'm just doing this and this and this and this to gain my trust back, but I still don't trust them, I'm going to choose to not trust them. Then we're going to continue to remain in this place. And like I said, this is mental torture at its finest, you guys. It doesn't get no worse than this. You know what I mean? This is not good. This is definitely not good. They have to make the choice to want to trust you again, learn to trust you again, and reestablish trust here again. But if they choose to sit here and be like, well, yeah, Sag is doing this and this for me, but no, I don't want to trust them. So then there's that. They're going to continue to remain in this low vibrational state. And that is a choice that they're choosing to make. So those are the things that they can do. Like I said, therapy is a good place to start. If they can't afford therapy, I highly recommend that they intentionally, I feel like this person needs to stop intentionally looking for things to continue to remain in this low vibrational state, you know? They need to stop looking for things. Like, they need to just stop themselves, because I feel like this may have become a bit of a habit, I would say, for them to constantly look for things and stuff like that. So they need to stop looking for things. They need to stop themselves from feeling the need that they have to look over, look through your phone 24/7, absolutely everything that comes with you 24/7. They need to stop doing that. Because if they continue to do that, that's just going to cause them to continue to be this way, okay? Not only that, but like I said, I do feel like they have to make that choice. They have to make that choice to want to improve things here between the two of you, to want to improve their mental health, to want to establish trust all over again. They have to want it. They have to want it, because if they don't want it, bad enough, they're going to continue to sit in this place. And this is literally them signing themselves up for mental torture, by the way. They're at this point, this is a choice that they're choosing to make. Is continue to look for things and continue to, I don't know, like, just, I keep getting that, like, continue to look for things, to continue to look through your things on top of that. And the more they continue to do this, and it's not going to bring them any comfort. You know what I mean? It's not going to help them get over this trust issue that they have here with you. It's just not. So they need to stop themselves from doing this. Constantly looking for things, constantly feeling the other to look through your phone and all that stuff, like, and question you in every little thing that you do. Like, they need to stop. If they really want to build trust here, they need to just stop doing all of that, because that's just fucking with their head even more, right? Because it's like they're preparing themselves. When they start looking through your phone, they are preparing themselves to find something to fight with you about, to argue with you about, to not trust you, right? That's all they're doing when they do this. That is all they're doing. That is literally all that they're doing. They're preparing themselves mentally to stumble across something that they don't like. They're preparing themselves mentally to find something. That's what they're doing. Right? And then when they turn around and they don't end up finding anything, right? They're probably going to sit there and think to themselves, well, Sag is just good at hiding things, but I'll catch them next time. You better believe it. You see? And then they end up in this, like, vicious, cycle, of theirs, right? And then, Friday comes along, right? And then they get to looking at your phone all over again just to find absolutely nothing, right? And then they're just like, you know what? Next Friday, I bet you I'm going to find something. I bet you I am. And then the next Friday comes along and then they don't find anything. You know what I mean? Regardless if you gave this person a reason to not trust you or not, people, this is what they're doing. This is what, every time they pick up your phone to look through it, that's exactly what they're doing. They're preparing themselves mentally to find something. In fact, they feel like, not that they feel, they genuinely believe and think that they're going to find something. And then when they don't find anything, this is that type of person that'll get all frustrated. Sag must be really good at hiding things. You know what? I'm trying to see. I'm trying to figure out, did you show up? I want to get a court card for you. I want to see if I can get a court card for you. I just want to pour cards. So you're harnessing masculine energy, okay? And I just wanted to kind of confirm that because I had a suspicion that you were harnessing masculine energy. And masculine energy doesn't have to represent a dude or anything like that. It could totally represent a female, okay? We all have masculine and feminine energy within us. Sorry, my phone decided to cut off. I ran out of storage, but I was basically describing this overall energy. So if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But yeah, so because you harness masculine energy, and when I say masculine energy, I don't necessarily mean like that you're a dude or anything like that, because we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. So, nothing gender specific. But one thing that I've noticed is that masculine energies are not the best at hiding things. They are not the best at hiding things whatsoever. Feminine energies, on the other hand, very, very good at hiding things. Masculine energies, not so much. I feel like they make it very, very obvious that they're up to no good, okay? So what this person's currently doing right now, it's kind of unnecessary, and here's why. Because masculine energies make it so obvious when they're up to no good. You don't have to do your digging. You don't have to do your research. You don't have to do any of those things because they make it so freaking obvious that they're up to no good. Feminine energies, on the other hand, and again, feminine, I'm not saying female. When I say feminine, we all have masculine and feminine energy within us, but feminine energies, whew, yeah, those are the ones that you have to kind of do your research and your digging, with, because they're just so good at hiding things. It's not obvious, when a feminine energy is, up to no good. And it's mainly because I noticed that feminine energies, they put a little bit more thought into the things that they do, and they're more calculated than like a masculine energy. Masculine energies are not that calculated. They don't put too much thought into things. They just do it. You know what I mean? They just go and do it. You know what I mean? Which makes it obvious, right, that they're up to no good. So everything that they're currently doing, as far as feeling the need that they have to look through your phone, all that extra stuff, they're basically wasting their time, because it kind of looks like they're not going to find anything. And it's not because you're good at hiding things or whatever the case may be. It's just because you're not really up to, no good. You know what I mean? So then there's that. And on top of that, even if you were up to no good, I'm telling you that you will make it very, very obvious. And they wouldn't even have to go through your phone. They could just be able to tell just by looking at you, and your routine changing and stuff like that. Because when masculine energies are up to no good, their routine starts to change all of a sudden. See, but when a feminine energy is up to no good, their routine will continue to remain the same, because again, feminine energies are very calculated, and they put a lot of thought into things. So if a feminine energy were to be up to no good, they're not going to switch up their routine to obviously alarm you that obviously something's going on. No, they're going to continue to keep their routine the same. But when a masculine energy is up to no good, their routine is just going to drastically change, out of freaking nowhere. And like I said, they just make it very obvious. So with that being said, you know what I mean? No, I don't feel, like you're doing anything behind their back like they think you are. No, I don't. And even if you were doing something behind their back, even if you were, you know what I mean, they wouldn't have to do the amount of things that they're doing, because you would make it that obvious. You would literally make it that obvious. Hierophant energy is masculine energy. So with that being said, no, I don't think that you're doing anything behind this person's back. And yeah, let's pull a romance angel card to see what they have to say. All right. Let's do this. So we have worth waiting for, very similar to a temperance card, which basically speaks of patience. I feel like this person needs to be very patient with themselves and very patient with the process. They need to understand that it's going to take some time for them to trust you all over again, but they cannot continue to sit in this marriage or relationship and choose to not trust you. They got to want to trust you. They got to want to rebuild trust here. They're going to want to, okay? But as they make the choice to trust you, right? Regardless if you did something to them or not. Once they make the choice to trust you, once they make the choice to start taking the necessary steps to rebuilding trust here, if trust was essentially broken between you and this person, right? They need to be very, very patient with themselves, and you need to be very patient with them, and you need to help them along this journey, especially if you're the one, you know what I mean? That